Ladies and gentlemen, the action continues from Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall here in Atlantic City. This is Fight Night Live on Facebook, powered by Everlast. This contest scheduled for 8 rounds of the Super Flyweight division. Brought to you by Salida Promotions and presented by Everlast. Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall, the Ocean Resort Casino, Iron Road, Court Power High Protein Milkshakes, Anita Active, Burger Rim, Eat Clean Bro, Elite Heat Water, and Mr. Custom Made. The judges for this contest are Eugene Grant, James Kinney, and Alan Rubenstein, and the referee in charge at the sound of the bell is Earl Brown. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 115 1/4 pounds. As a professional, his record stands at 9-4, 3 wins by way of knockout. Wearing the red, white, and green of Mexico, he represents Northfield, Minnesota, and Mexico City. Please welcome the Minnesota State Super Bantamweight Champion, Vincente Alfaro Martinez. His undefeated opponent fights out of the red corner. He weighed in at 115 1/2 pounds. As a professional, his record stands with 11 victories, 0 defeats, and 1 draw. 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Wearing orange, white, and green, he's the 6-time National Amateur Champion. Please welcome Jarico, the Great Lakes King Oquinn.
Gentlemen, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves if you want.
Shorts are kind of high, right?
I'll check them. Touch glove. All right, back to your corner.
Mr. Porter, Martinez has won 3 straight. We feel he's on the ascent. He beat a 9-0-1 guy and a 12-0 guy, but his last outing came 2 years ago when he beat 11-7 Noe Ramirez to KO 4. So I'm going to be on the lookout for rust. Straight up.
We're talking about a guy who also faced former Olympian and world title challenger Joseph Diaz in Diaz's first professional fight. So, you know, this kid right here, the Minnesota State Super Bantamweight champion, he's definitely coming to bring it. Now, Oquinn, one thing I liked when he first came in the ring, not only did he acknowledge the judges, but he acknowledged his opponent. He went and shook his opponent's hand. You rarely see a guy come out and shake your opponent's hand before you shake hands, before the referee says, okay, shake your hands, let's have a good bout. He came out and shook his hand and said, let's have a good bout before anything. So that's a credit to this young man.
Oquinn has been on the Talk Box podcast a couple times. He's a good talker, and he brings it. I asked him, hey, he got a draw on his record. What happened, man, in August 2017 when you drew with 2-3 Jose Elizondo? And he said, Woods, I worked a 70-pound jackhammer and my body felt the effects. I worked up right to the day before the weigh-in. And hello, working a jackhammer, I've never done it, but I can imagine that it's, you know, it saps you. So I'm never going to do that again. We learn, we make mistakes. If you want to see me at the canvas again, you're going to find old footage because it will not happen again. He's 11-0 out. With 8 KOs, fighting at 115 pounds here. And you like it, what you're seeing so far in round number 1?
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you touched on that, because when you work at a jackhammer, whether it's 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, or 7 days, and then you got to go in there and fight, your arms are dead. They're dead tired. There's nothing in your arms. It's like clay in a sense. You know, there's no strength in those arms. So I can definitely understand what took place in that fight as to the reason why he got the draw. But right now, his speed, he's sharp, he's fast. He has Hernandez on the back foot trying to figure him out. Very difficult because he's just so solid right now. Everything he's throwing at him are just landing and quick and clean.
Oquinn is pressing the action. He's coming forward, and you see he's got that sweeper left hook. I like that because it's so quick and it can be nasty when it lands. Likes to come from both sides, and he's going to test your peripheral vision. He's going to come from the outside with the right hooks and with the sweeping left hook as well. Comes from underneath as well. He's got good hand speed, slightly above average, I would say. You see 11 wins, 8 KOs. So going to see how his power plays out moving forward, but I think it's solid. I think he certainly lets you know that he's there, and I like those trunks. He told us on the last podcast he's got family from Ireland, so there's Oquinn for you.
Okay. Black Irish.
That's it.
We've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah, man. That's what he told me. Yeah. I said, tell me about this name, Oquinn. You're from the D, and you see him putting in that good work. He's backing Martinez up into the corner, Xavier.
Yeah, after we come from the first round and we come from this break, I'm going to give my assessment of some things that I think Oquinn may need to adjust on as he goes forward in this fight.
So that's the end of round one here in Boardwalk Hall.
Undisputed Shields versus Hammer for the Unified Middleweight Championship of the World is brought to you by Salida Promotions and Showtime, and is presented by Boardwalk Hall, the Ocean Resort Casino, Iron Road Employee Administration, Core Power High Protein Milkshakes, a pre- and post-workout essential, Anita Active. For maximum support, visit anita.com. And Burger M, chef-inspired burgers.
Jarico Oquinn, solid round number one here in the theater at Boardwalk Hall. These are super flyweights, folks, 115 pounds or less. Vincente Martinez. He's had some ring rust that he wants to be scraping off. He's hoping that he got that done in the training camp for this fight. I didn't see noticeable, egregious ring rust, but that can prove itself to be found as we progress in rounds. Once Oquinn gets geared up and really loose and limber, we might see him start to really open up. You see the attempt at the left hook there, and the hand speed from Oquinn, who is signed to Dimitri Salida and Salida Promotions. Salida is the promoter of record for this card, which features Elena Gradinar in a world title attempt. She comes from Russia. She's taking on Brenda K. Karabahal. We're going to see that next on Facebook Fight Night Live. And, of course, then Claressa Shields taking on Christina Hammer down the line. The people in attendance will be taking that in. Xavier Porter, Oquinn puts his punches together well. He's a fluid puncher. You want to see him punching through the target there a little bit? I know that's a little bit of an old school term, but I still like to use it. I think it's still valid.
I want to see him dial in more and not throw so many wasteful shots. He's talented. He has good speed, but a lot of his punches he's lunging. He's not just sitting there and just touching them and setting it up. He's lunging in the sense that he can get hit by somebody who's just sitting there waiting for him, you know. And I would also like to see him keep his left hand up. Definitely want to see him keep his left hand up. I'm not saying that the young man can't punch or the young man doesn't have skill, but he definitely needs to tighten up his offensive strategy and get a little bit more sharper in there.
Yeah, they tapped gloves there in a show of sportsmanship, and then Quinn, right after tapping, came forward with the left hook. Protect yourself at all times. Going to say it again. This is now the last third of the round, heading towards round 2 of 8 super flies. You have the featherweight title fight coming up next.
I want to see Oquinn use his jab more. I don't want to see him lunge in, and I don't want to see just one punch from a kid at a young age who has so much talent and so much prosper in him. You know, I want to see him do some things that show everybody that you're not just this guy that just got speed. You know, you want to show that you got good overall skill and talent.
And he is the stalker here. The stalker lunged and missed with a power punch attempt. Xavier Porter is calling for more jabs to set the table for Jarico Oquinn. And the second to last bout on our portion of the card here on Facebook Fight Night Live.
See, that's what I like to see. He threw a jab, he threw another jab, and he came in with a right hand. He didn't lunge and lean in with the right hand. He threw a straight right hand after the double jab. Nice jab. That's what I'm talking about. Nice jab. Work it. Work the punch. Work your combinations. I wouldn't call him a mini Floyd just yet, Vicky. I would not call him a mini Floyd just yet.
I fight like a girl.
I know you know it. I can't control it. Call me the greatest here in this moment.
I fight like a woman.
I'm unstoppable. It's impossible. I am the ruler and I reign till I can't no more.
I fight like a queen, like a queen.
Bow down to me. Step up on the scene and they
It's Shields versus Hammer to become the undisputed women's middleweight champion on Showtime.
So looking at the Oquinn corner, I confess, sometimes my mind is a-wandering. I'm wondering how the middleweight clash is going to play out between Claressa Shields and Christina Hammer over on the premium cable channel Showtime. They've been hyping that fight hard, and there has been a good groundswell of support from people that are giving women's boxing a shot for the first time. I'm getting a lot of notes on social media at Woodsy1069 on Twitter. And what's your Twitter handle? Well, we got you here on the subject here, Xavier.
You can find me, Xavier Porter 227. Xavier Porter 227. You can also follow me on Instagram, Brooklyn Fights 1. You can also follow me on Instagram at Shoot the 5-1. Just started my own podcast called Shoot the 5 with Xavier Porter. And also you can find my work at brooklynfights.com.
So you getting a lot of people reaching out on social media saying, hey, I'm going to give this a chance?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, there is some resistance in certain circles. Boxing is, in many ways, a conservative sport. They do respect the history, and a lot of people will say, hey, well, females, why are you fighting? They're not open to it. My answer to them is talk to these people who do it. Talk to the Claressa Shields. Talk to the Heather Hardys, and they will tell you they are born for it like any man is.
Yeah, man, it's
born for combat.
The Ronica Jeffries, the Melissa St. Villes, the Franchune Cruz, the Zones, you know, the Alicia Napialones, you know, all female fighters who give their all to the sport. Celia Breakers, Katie Taylor, you know, all women boxing, female boxers who give their all to the sport. You know, this particular fight with Claressa Shields and Christina Hammer, it's bigger than women's boxing. This is like a huge fight in boxing, period. You know, this is for the undisputed middleweight championship. We're talking about 5 belts here: the WBA, the WBC, the WBO, the IBF, and the Ring Magazine title. Now, when you look across the other side, the other gender, I should say, Usyk, last undisputed cruiserweight champion, Terrence Crawford, last undisputed super lightweight champion, and the list goes on. So for women's boxing, it's the same thing. This is huge, and it puts it on another scale, another landscape for everybody to support and push for the sport to be recognized as an equal.
And to the matter at hand, we have Oquinn in against Martinez, super flyweights. Like the work that Oquinn is doing in this round. He's popping the jab. He must have heard you, Mr. Porter.
Yeah, or maybe somebody from Detroit, from where he's from, heard me out there watching us right now on Facebook Fight Night Live. And yes, John Q, fight fan, people have heard of Layla Ali and Christina Martin, and they definitely were some of the best female fighters to transcend the sport and take the sport to another level. But right now, in this day and age, in this generation, Claressa Shields and Christina Hammer and a lot of other women boxers right now, they have an opportunity to take the sport to a whole nother level.
Fight Night Live is powered by Everlast, who reminds you to be first. And presented by Eat Clean Bro. If you're a pro in training or you just want to eat like a world champion, check out Eat Clean Bro and use the promo code Fight Night. Elite Heat Water. The best fighters, trainers, and announcers just drink the water. And Mr. Custom Made. For a perfect knockout look, check out MrCustomMade.com.
And back to live action after learning who our sponsors are. We have heavy appreciation for them because they help us do what we do, which is bring live boxing to you free. Jam-packed cards always, very little filler, next to none. We just give you the fights here. Michael Woods ringside with Xavier Porter doing analysis, and ask for your analysis on Oquinn versus Martinez to this point.
Really good fight so far. I mean, Oquinn he's been controlling the fight. We in round 4, as you just mentioned. Oquinn has controlled the bout since round 1. Martinez right now is just there. No disrespect to him, but he's just there. Oquinn he's been controlling it. He's landed the better punches. He's basically taking his time. in a sense, I don't want to call it a sparring match because I want to give Martinez the utmost respect for trying his best to do something in there. And you never know, one punch can land and change the fight because Oquinn's hands are sometimes a little low, per se. But right now, Oquinn is dominating. He's just been dominant since thus far. 3-0 Oquinn.
Good assessment. Mr. Porter, who has asked for several times, give me the jab to set the table more. Don't be necessarily starting out and leading with the sweeping left hook, which too often Martinez can see coming, because you're not setting it up with anything to blind him.
Exactly. You know my favorite punch in boxing is the jab, because everything else comes behind the jab. The jab is the best punch in boxing. It's like chess. The best piece on the chessboard is the queen. The jab is the best punch because your queen sets up everything else behind it.
Making good sense there, Xavier Porter. And this is round 4. This is the midway point, set for 8 or less. Oquinn exhibits solid balance. And you see him hunting for that sweet spot opening.
And everybody out there tuning in, again, let us know where you're watching. We truly appreciate everybody out there. We love to interact. We love to engage with everybody. That's what Fight Night Live, Facebook Fight Night Live is all about. We love to interact with the fans and everybody out there watching. Again, let us know where you're watching from. If you want us to come to your town, if you want a fight card presented to your town, make sure you get in contact with Mr. Mark Fratto, the marvelous one, Mark Fratto. Get in contact with Michael Woods, because we definitely want to come to the towns and put on phenomenal fight cards and work with the teams and the promoters and things like that out there.
So Dimitri Salita, he works with Clarissa Shields, and also he's working with Jarrell Miller, who fights June 1st, Madison Square Garden, stepping up 1.5 steps against Anthony Joshua. He'll be the underdog coming in, but he's hard at work in Florida at camp. He's not even been doing any press. He's just, I hear, working hard, so that bodes well. Now, listen, anyone who's wanting Big Baby Miller to trim down to 250 pounds or whatever, that's not going to happen. Big Baby, he's Big Baby, and he's going to stay that way. Doesn't shy away from cheeseburgers totally during training camps, but I hear he is working very hard, diligently, so that's one to look forward to.
Absolutely. Great round so far for Oquinn again. Fantastic round, dominated.
So some replay action. Xavier Porter, what do you see here, sir?
I just see Oquinn the better puncher, the better boxer, the all-around much skilled boxer, you know. I think Oquinn is just taking his time, just setting up shots, you know, learning on the job per se, doing stuff that he practiced in the gym with. Martinez is tough, but you know he can't figure out Oquinn at this point. He's just here. He's fighting the best he can do. He's doing the best he can. He's putting up the best effort. But right now, Oquinn is just a better man by far.
Now listen, straight up, Oquinn was talking to our man Greg Leone from Boxing Talk, and Leone said, all right, you know, you got the guys from Showtime that are there. You want to get yourself onto Showbox and what have you. You want to impress them, right? And that has to be in his head. He has to know that these guys are here, that this is an audition for stepping up onto larger stages as far as platforms go. And to do that, how do you want to do it? How do you want to activate that? Very easy, simple, very facile answer. You want to get the stoppage, you want to step it up, and you want to close out the show. So I want to see him, if I'm aligned with what he wants, I want to see him stepping it up here and look to put some hurt on Martinez, step up the pace here, give me better volume, and get a little bit nastier. And I think maybe we're seeing that right now coming. Absolutely. In this round 5, Mr. Porter.
Yeah, you want to see if he'll step it up. Well, let's see what happens, you know. Let's see.
Greg Leone asked him, does knowing the Showtime execs will be watching this fight put more pressure on you or further motivate you or both? And Oquinn answered, pressure busts pipes, but it also makes diamonds. I'm expecting to become that diamond that's shining bright for a long time to come. That's well phrased. Now, you got to show it. You got to do it. Talk is one thing. Put it into motion. Activate it. Got a little bit more time here to close out the show, but that's what he wants to do if he wants to be stepping it up. Get those, more high-profile fights.
Yeah. But again, he's still young. He's 11-0.
Yeah, it's prime time for Showbox, isn't it, X-Man?
Yeah.
Right there at that sweet spot, 11-0, 12-0, heading to that Showbox territory.
And he's working with a really great promoter, Demetri Salita, who definitely knows how to get his fighters the right exposure. So right now, this is a good opportunity for Oquinn, building his fan base on Facebook Fight Night Live, and then as you go forward, build a fan base on another level.
So, heavy degree of anticipation for the Shields Hammer main event that's coming up on Showtime. Mark Fratto spoke to Claressa Shields earlier, a couple hours ago. He got some snippets and some tidbits from her, from Flint, Michigan, repping. She's 8-0 with 2 KOs, so we're going to be serving up some of that to help whet your appetite there a little bit. Jab to the body from Oquinn. This is round 5 of 8. And peppering jab now. Porter called for it, and he's giving it to us. Flurry attempt from Oquinn. Martinez, good deal of survival mode I've seen from him as we tick down 10 seconds remaining in the round. Snappy jab from Oquinn. And Claressa
Later on this
Shields
evening,
hearing
Claressa
from
Shields
now.
of Flint, Michigan, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist and now middleweight champion of the world, is going to take part in the most significant female boxing match in the history of boxing. How does that weigh? What kind of magnitude does that have on you, or describe what you think about when you hear those words?
Well, right now, sadly, I don't think about anything. I think about just the fight. I think about being calm. I think about you really can't celebrate the moment until the moment is there, So I'm waiting until when I win, that's when everybody will see me, go crazy and celebrate right now. But for right now, the fans are pretty amped up. Our teams are pretty amped up, our families and our friends, and I'm just really staying calm right now. But I'm glad to be able to showcase my skills again on Showtime, and hopefully with this fight we raise the bar and take it to a new heights.
Good interrogation from Mark Fratto on Claressa Shields. Want to hear from our friends on Facebook, Fight Night Live, in the comments section. If you like what we're doing, send a share out. And also, you tell us right now, maybe we read your comment. Anyone seeing the Hammer upset win? Can the lady coming in from Dortmund, Germany, who, by the way, has seemed to be very confident during this fight week, anyone see her getting the upset win over Claressa Shields? Let us know in the comments section, Facebook, Fight Night Live. Now this is round 6 of 8. Oquinn and Martinez.
Again, Oquinn from Detroit, the Great Lakes King, round 6, fighting a good fight. All he needs to do is keep up the pace. He'll win a easy unanimous decision win.
Yeah, it's been easy work so far, hasn't it? And that is not to diminish how hard he had to work to get ready for this fight or what Martinez brings to the table, but Oquinn looks well on his way. You see a switch of stance up now. Is he trying to keep himself interested, try something different here that might work for a future fight against a stiffer foe? I'd like to see him put in the effort to just work to stop this guy or put the stamp on this fight by showing all the people that he's auditioning for bigger stage fight that he really, really wants it. And that he's someone to watch, put on your future prospects list.
Because you got to understand, fighting a guy like Martinez, everybody coming behind that, watching this fight is going to say, okay, we got to pressure this guy. We can't just let him sit on the outside and pot shot us all day. We got to apply pressure. And then you'll see what kind of fighter Oquinn is. Does pressure bust pipes? Or will you see Oquinn actually continue to take his style to another level, take his skill set to another level? That's when you start to see go from prospect to contender.
Stepping it up in this round, X-Man, is Oquinn.
will he begin to sit down more on his punches? He just went southpaw just there.
Yeah, I used the phrase a couple rounds ago, punching through the target. Not as much amateur point scoring style, but more so punch through and put a hurt on the man. Maximum velocity and oomph on it. That's pro style. Yeah, I'd like to see more of that from Oquinn. Going to give you another snippet and tidbit, more from the Mark Fratto interview after this round. This is round 6, ticking down to the end. Another Oquinn round.
You touched on social media, and also you touched on trash talk. And I read a quote where Andre Ward gave you advice about being authentic, and you certainly are that, especially on social media. You're an athlete, one of the greatest in the world, in the social media era. And it seems like you use social media to reach out to your fans and also to beat back some detractors. Is that your strategy? Or tell us a little bit about your social media persona.
Just to get more fans and to get more haters. I mean, I use it for both. I don't put up stuff to grind the gears of certain people, but sometimes they just get their gears grinded. But guess what? They don't like me so much that they're going to tune into the fight and cheer for Hammer. Beautiful. As long as you watch it. I don't care.
A lot of people will be watching this interview on Facebook tonight before the Showtime bouts hit the airwaves. And then, of course, the 2-division champion of the world will go for the undisputed middleweight crown, putting her titles and that O on the line against her opponent's titles and her O. Good luck, champ.
Thank you.
Mark Fratto of Lineker Media gave you a better sense of the mindset of Claressa Shields going into this one. Shields is a fascinating character. She's very active on social media. She does, quote unquote, talk some trash. A lot of fellas especially aren't used to that, and she was asked about that this week. You know, is that you? Do people pressure you not to act that way, etc.? She's a warrior. Straight up, that's the way she's built. And if you do a little digging into her backstory, you better understand why. I'm going to post onto my Twitter at Woodsy1069 a story that will give you a little bit better sense. I want you to hit it after we finish up our main event, which is Elena Gradinar against Brenda Karen Carabajal, which follows this Oquinn versus Martinez fight, okay? I don't want you to move away from the Facebook Fight Night live stream. I don't want to direct you to Twitter and then you never come back because you get lost in some you know, Alice in Wonderland hole.
That is the truth.
Yeah, man. 2 minutes remaining in this one. Oquinn looks to have it well in hand, Mr. Porter, yes?
Absolutely. Oquinn is dominating the 7th round. But again, I'd like to see him get him out of there. End this fight as soon as possible so we can get on to the middleweight fight. Excuse me, the IBF featherweight fight, I should say.
The world title fight, it's our first one in 2 years of existence in Facebook Fight Night Live. That's very meaningful. You and I drove here and we were talking about the meaningfulness of this, and no BS, we were giving Mark Fratto a big shout out because he put this infrastructure together. He did this. This was Fratto's vision, and he deserves immense credit. This is not something that is easy to do. It's a heavy lift. Porter was talking about, a lot of people say, how do you guys do this? How do you get this views? And we were saying on the way here, well, it's Fratto's vision, and it's his intensity, and it's his ambition. No BS. He deserves a hell of a lot of credit because this is something that he started from scratch, guys. From scratch.
That's why they call him Marvelous.
Oh, yeah, Marvelous. Yeah, that's right. So we got 40 seconds remaining in this round 7 of 8. A lot of these rounds have looked very similar, as some of our friends are noting here on the comment section. And you don't want that. If you want to be an attraction, you want to have some ebbs and flows of drama, or you just want to stop your foe. I mean, you and I said this 2 fights ago. Sometimes you just want that win, but you know what happens when you maybe just want that win and you don't stop the guy and you just want to get rounds? Mm-hmm. Maybe the judges give it to the other guy.
Agreed.
It's the best and smartest way to handle things. End of round 7. Looking into the Oquinn corner. He's getting some tutorial instruction. Card Gal is telling us that this is round 8. It's the last scheduled round. And I'm looking at the comment section, Latrice Oquinn.
Ladies and gentlemen, here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, make some noise. This is round number 8, the 8th and final round.
Latrice Oquinn, are you related to Jarico? Rico got this, says Coco Applebomb. Tony X says one more round and knock his ass out. Is he gonna go for the knockout here? Is he gonna gun for the stoppage? Is he gonna look for that pound of flesh, that conclusive climactic ending? Let's be very honest about it. That sells. People want that. They want that conclusive ending, the cherry on top, the payoff. Skills pay the bills, but you know how you pay them easier, faster, bigger, and better? Knockouts and stoppages. Oquinn is on his way to the win. We believe this would be an egregious situation if the judges deemed, if this does go the distance, that Martinez had the better outing. One does never know, though. Oquinn now ticking down to the last 2/3 of the fight. He's in control, Mr. Porter.
Absolutely. Been dominant throughout the fight. Control each round. Never hurt once in the fight. Good left hook to the body right there. You know, good showcase of a young, talented prospect on the rise. You know, good work tonight by Oquinn. Very good work tonight by Oquinn. His fans, his friends back at home in Detroit, they should definitely be proud of this young man because he's putting on a phenomenal show tonight. Hats off to him.
Friend of Fight Night Live, Bradley Snyder, is tuning in. Lisa Courtney is watching. Vicky Kavanaugh still with us. 125 remaining. This is the 8th round. This is the last round. These are Superflies.
And don't forget, we have our first, I repeat, our first world title fight taking place. Coming up next, the IBF vacant female featherweight title, featuring the one and only Elena Gradinov from St. Petersburg, Russia, taking on Brenda Karen Karabahal. I hope I pronounced that right.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good too. From San Salvador de Jujuy, Argentina. So any Argentinians out there, if I pronounced it incorrectly, please correct me. If I pronounced it correctly, let me know. But again, tune in. The IBF fight, featherweight titles on the line. First world championship fight here on Facebook Fight Night Live. This is history in the making. We are at the historic Boardwalk Hall. This is a historic night for boxing, period. Not only women's boxing, but boxing, period.
Let's see, the Showtime boxing boss, Steven Espinoza, has taken his seat. So we're moving towards centerpiece time. 5 seconds remaining in the final round of Oquinn versus Martinez. Boardwalk Hall. Bernie Harris says Detroit won this hands down. Rico throwing a shutout, says Paulie P. 8 rounds for the red corner, says Sean Moses. Can't take issue with any of you. Some replay action, Xavier Porter.
Nothing but combination punches on the inside all day, all night by Mr. Oquinn. Slip the right hand, roll, left hook, right hand over the top, just keeping his man at bay, landing all the shots that he needs to continuously control the pace of the bout, control the pace of the fight. And again, as you can see, combinations on the inside, some of them shots landed accurate, some of them just need to be thrown to keep his man where he needs him at. Good fight by Oquinn, good win, unanimous win in my opinion by Mr. Jarico Oquinn.
Brado's getting the cards and tabulations. He's turning towards us. We believe Jarico Oquinn will get the UD8. And now, to make it official, Mark Brado.
Ladies and gentlemen, here in Atlantic City, at the conclusion of 8 rounds, we now go to the judges' scorecards. Eugene Grant, James Kinney, and Alan Rubenstein. Also, this one, 80-72 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. And still undefeated from Detroit, Michigan, Jarico, the Great Lakes King